Hi, welcome to Analytics for All. Today we're going to go over the introduction to R programming language. It's one of my most used programming languages for data analysis and data mining. I use it at work professionally and at school. For those who aren't familiar with it, it's an open source statistical programming language that's used heavily in academic and research institutes. It's an open source take on an old language called S, which was a programming language developed by Bell Labs. R is kind of a humorous take on their name S. It's really increasing popularity. It's used heavily for data analysis, mining, machine learning, other advanced data science applications. Has some really great visualization applications and stuff like that you can develop it. And it's now part of a whole host of big suites. I know like Microsoft, their SQL Server platform now has Microsoft R built into it, which is a little different. But the best thing about it, honestly, for everybody to learn is it's free. So if you want to go to it, there's different versions of it out there. I'm going to take you to the original, the CRAN, the R project. I would just start with this. It's the most popular. So you go right there, just search CRAN R project.org. And what you're going to do is you want to download, please choose your preferred mirror first. So when you go hit download R, if you're not sure what a mirror is, look, you got the different countries here. It's pick the one closest to where you live. I'm in America, so I'm going to pick this Berkeley education one. And as you can see, you have your Linux, you have your download for Mac OS, Windows. You can even find you have tarballs here, that kind of stuff if you really want to get into it. You can get the source code if you want, if you really want to hack away at it. I'm more of an R user. I'm not trying to rewrite the application myself. But once you get it up, this is what it looks like. I'm using 64-bit GUI here. This is the standard GUI. There's more, like I said, there's more advanced ones. There's RStudio you may have heard of, those types of things. But we're just going to start with this. This is fine. This is an interactive, what's known as an interactive console. If you don't know about programming, interactive consoles mean when I type in and I hit enter, it immediately does my action. So I did 4 plus 2 equals 6. This is, R does all your standard arithmetic things. You can even do, the order of operations, that type of work. You can play with all of it, but it's all your standard. Nothing interesting, as far as that goes. You have your minus, your plus, your division for that. That's your multiplication. So nothing, no oddball stuff. If you need to bring something to if you want to bring 2 to the 5th, it's just the caret up. So, and of course, it has variables. R has an interesting thing. This arrow, you can assign variables using that. Okay, X is 5. One cool thing with the arrow, which is you're really not going to see in too many other ways, is if you watch it, I can do it this way. So I can have my variable on the other side, and it assigns. I've never actually used that for any particular reason. I just think it's cool that you can do it. And of course, I can add my variables. The main thing here is just simply this is the basic arithmetic functions found within R. R's main data types are, you got numeric. Numeric in R means it's a real number, so you're going to have decimal points. Then you have integer, which you follow by this L. That means it's a whole number. There's no trailing decimal behind it. You have logical, Boolean, true, false. Notice the capitals. They use true and false. If you put this in lowercase, it will not recognize it as true, false. Characters, the string, and they even have complex. If you guys remember from trig class, the I, which is square root of -1. Can't say I've ever used that professionally, but it's, in case you guys get into some like spherical trigonometry or some stuff like that. There you go. It's available. Well, where R really shines is in its use of this thing down here called vectors. Vectors allow you to group elements. Now keep in mind, R was a statistical modeling based off of S, which is statistical modeling. So you want to be able to deal with lists and groups of variables. Now, using a vector, we create a vector using this C right here. Put the C in front, and we can create a vector. 1, 2, 3. And when we see it, there's our vector. 1, 2, 3. If you want to see an element of your vector, use the square brackets, say 2. And this is important. In R, you'll notice my first element is 1. It's not 0, as in most programming languages will start with 0. In R, the first element is 1. There's always 1. There is no 0. That would give you an error. But the vector functioning in R is really cool, and I'll get into this later classes, but just basic idea here. I mean, let's build another one, 3, 4, 5. And look, we can do, if you've taken linear algebra or any of that stuff, you're going to like this vector multiplication here. So as you can see, what we did here is we multiplied v times v1, which would give you, so the first one is 1 times 3. And this, and then the next one is 2 times 4, that's 8. Then you get 3 times 5, 15. So that's where the vector, and like I say, we did a lot of cooler stuff with vectors. Vectors don't only have to be numbers. You can make a vector out of words if you want. Hog. Okay, so, but you can't, it has to be numbers or words. You can't mix. But there is a tool that allows you to mix, and that's called list. Now list, you create using the word list. I know, very cryptic, huh? But if you notice here, I can go hog, I can go 2, and I'm going to go make a vector. I'll make a vector, lowercase c, of 1, 2, 3. And list is, there's my vector, 1, 2, 3. Oops. I don't know where that came from. There you go, list. Okay. I must have had list as a variable and stored earlier. Sorry, that's where that came from. But hog, 2, and 1, 2, 3. You'll see them in these double brackets as you see. And this gets deeper. When we get in deeper ones, you can have as an element of a list. Well, just to give you an idea, you can call list by their elements here. I can call in 1. I can call. So I called 2 there, and it gave me the second element. If I call 1, I can pick up the first one. That's the main function. I mean, this is just kind of an introduction here to R. Play around with it. Make your variables. Get used to the area around it. If you want another area to check out, I've got a lot of tutorials based on that back at my site, which is analyticsforall.org. If you go to there, you'll see I have a whole section here dedicated to nothing but R. I go all the way in regression, machine learning, some text analytics. For those who want to get more crowded, I showed you how to do a Twitter analysis, sentiment analysis. I even have an R Shiny introduction. I'll be making some more videos on this, but this is just kind of a good introduction to R. Get you started playing around with it a little bit. Okay, like I say, look forward to seeing you again. Come back to check out my video site.